Hi, in this video I'm going to have a wee look at the new or relatively new Winsor Newton watercolour sticks. I know I did say my next video would be using coloured pencils and doing some techniques to follow on from my last video, but these arrived in the post this morning, so I thought I was going to do an unboxing and we did try that, but unfortunately I was on the wrong side of the camera. So this is take 2 or take 4 really, but anyway. I have one of these, which I got in open stock and I really quite liked it. And what appealed to me about the set is that it's lightweight, comes in a nice little tin. It's quite a sturdy tin, but it's very lightweight. So if you want to take it with you sketching or in holidays or whatever, it's a perfect tool, and you can use them dry or wet, so that really appeals to me. And also it's exact same quality as Winsor Newton's artist quality watercolor paints in tubes or pan form. So not only can you use them for sketching, but you can use them in pieces that are going into a gallery or to be sold, whatever. So you don't really need to you don't really need to worry about light fastness. So I'll just open up and you can see there's 10. There's one taken out there, and I've already broken some, as you can see. It comes with this foam insert which protects the sticks, but it does make them kind of hard to lift out without getting the pigment stuck under your fingers and your nails. But I suppose at least it keeps them safe. I don't know if I have Derwent's Inktense blocks, they're 24 set. The older sets had this exact same kind of foam, and then they changed them to this flimsy plastic, which breaks really easily. So if you can put up with getting paint in your fingers and them being hard to lift out, I actually think this is better because it protects your sticks a lot more. There's 10 in this set. As far as I know, that's all you can get, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm just going to show you a chart of a color chart that I did. And this is still wet, so I hope it's not shining too much and you can see it. This is Winsor Newton yellow. This is the Indian yellow, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, French ultramarine, Prussian blue, Windsor green blue shade, yellow ochre, burnt umber, and you get an ivory black. Now I probably didn't put enough pigment down, especially for the reds and the black, so it's come out quite clear. Quite light, but this is the French ultramarine, and I've just broken off a piece here. You can actually, the sticks come with the wrapping is kind of divided into 4 little pieces, so you can peel that wrapping off to make it easier to break the stick, or just work with it like that. So you are kind of encouraged to break it, and then again you could have a little tiny Altoids tin and put, a tiny little piece of each colour. It takes up no space whatsoever and you're good to go. Anyway, let's just see what we can do with these. It's just like a square pastel, so you can use the edges to draw with. Get really expressive marks. This is a Saunders cold press paper. 350 grams, so there's a bit of texture to it, but it's a good strong paper that doesn't need to be stretched before you use it. If I take the piece that I broke off earlier and just put it down on its side, oops, it's hard to, you can cover a big area. Now you get a bit of texture with this paper. I used it earlier in a smoother paper and it was quite nice. Now I'm just going to wet the areas that I've drawn. I won't be able to get rid of that drawn mark completely, but it diffuses it. If I try to get rid of this area completely, let me see. I'm not really pressing hard, and it is kind of diffusing it. It is kind of making it disappear completely, if you want to keep that mark, don't press too hard. So it is a different effect, certainly on this paper, to working directly with watercolour. You get more of the texture of the paper coming through. even after you've wet it. Another thing you can do is just wet the paper, and I'm going to take the alizarin, sorry, let me just check the colour of this. Yeah, the alizarin crimson. It looks quite brown there in this light, but it's alizarin crimson, and just go straight into a wet area, and it diffuses it nicely. I quite like that. The other thing you can do is spatter. Just trying to show you different colours here. This is the cadmium red hue. So you can just use it like a normal, like you would with a watercolour pan. Lift colour from the pan with your brush and paint. And you can also spatter with it. And if I spatter into that area, gives it a nice effect. So you're supposed to be able to wet these after years and years. I mean, obviously I can't prove that, but that's what Winsor Newton say. If you have a piece that you've done dry and you wet it months later, years later, it should activate with water, no problem. I quite like them because when I'm sketching, I like to be able to draw and have watercolour as well, and you can get a really different effect, and that's diffusing really nicely there. I'm just going to try it out on a different paper. This is khadi paper. It's like a rag paper made in India, sorry. It's got a bit of a texture to it, and it's kind of a creamy colour. So I'm just going to see how it dissolves out in that. You get, it doesn't diffuse it as much on this paper, which I kind of expected. And on a smoother paper you would probably be able to work out more of the texture and get more of a watercolour effect. But I quite like being able to see the drawn line and just softening it with the water. One thing that I wanted to show, this is just a spiral pad. It gets on your fingers, makes a bit of a mess. Be careful with that because then you end up smudging everything. This is just a blocking for wee spiral pad. And I'm going to take one of my rubber stamps, which I never bothered cleaning, and I'll just use the cadmium red, the little piece that's still wet, because I tried this before and if it's too wet it won't work, but that's not wet enough. So it's a bit messy, but there you go, that's me. Because I wanted to see if I could stamp with these, because I would sometimes with the Inktense blocks. Let's see what happens. I think this worked better on the smooth paper that I used before, but I don't have any more of it. This is just a stamp I made out of a big rubber. It's not bad. It was a bit crisper on the smoother paper. But you get the idea. You can play around with these things, and I encourage you to do that. Anytime you get a new product, find out what it can do. And I'm just interested, if I take a bit of yellow from that and go over this, what happens? I'm using a Da Vinci brush number 6. I blend the colours in and get really interesting effect. It has diffused it quite a bit there, so I'm not sure. But anyway, before I go, I also ordered some of these. I think I saw these on the Society for All Artists website. Magic Watercolour Sponge Erasers that are supposed to lift watercolour. Everybody says that once watercolour is on paper, you can't lift it, which isn't really true. It depends on the pigment and all the rest, and you can lift pigment with a damp brush, they say. Not a wet brush, a damp brush. But this is apparently supposed to lift it completely. You get 4 of these rectangles in this set. You're supposed to be able to reuse these after you've used them, just rinse them in water, and you can cut them. Scissors or a knife. This bit actually tore off. So I'm going to put down some French ultramarine and wet it and see if this magic watercolour really is as magic as it says. Now I don't know whether it works best if you let it dry or if you're supposed to use it on wet watercolour. Didn't think that. Anyway, you're supposed to put this into water, dampen it, squeeze it out, and then, let's see. It is lifting it, but not completely. But then again, maybe you're supposed to do it when it's dry, when the paint's dry. But certainly you can get quite a bit off. And this is not that wonderful paper, so probably if you have a thicker, stronger paper, you could actually be a bit rougher with it, so it's not bad. And then you just rinse it in water, and it's good to go again. So, not bad. I can't actually remember how much that cost me. It wasn't too expensive really, especially if you can reuse them. And if that's a technique, if you lift out a lot, that's something that's worth considering. So, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Do let me know your comments, or if you've in the comments, or if you've used these yourselves and you'd like to add something further, that would be great, or show me work that you've done with them. That would be really good. I hope this has been of some use to you.